Alright guys, welcome to my video. This is my personal tips and tricks for all beginners and intermediate players. I'm sure anybody that's getting consistently to Spectre 5 or Minty 5 or whatnot, I'm pretty sure you guys know this information by now. Maybe you guys don't, maybe you do, but this is just for some general information that I think that would be nice for you guys to know. Again, this is only beginner and intermediate information. Some people may know it, some people may not, but hopefully this video helps you out. If it does help you out, please let me know in the comments below. Like the video, watch it through all the way, subscribe, all that jazz. And if there's something specifically you guys want me to talk about, maybe I could talk about it. But let me know in the comments what you guys want me to talk about. And if you need tips on something, you know, if you have questions about something, maybe I can answer it. Or maybe I can put it in video format. But hopefully these tips and tricks help you guys out. Let me know again if they do in the comments below. Enjoy. Alright, first things first. Y'all need to check out your settings immediately, and every wipe, if you guys don't know, every wipe, from my experience at least, every wipe always resets my settings. Now, I don't know if this wipe coming up soon is gonna be, you know, they're gonna fix that issue. If they don't fix that issue and you are barely getting into the game, or this is your first official wipe yourself, then we're gonna have to show you what's up. Wipe's gonna refresh everything, all your settings. So just hop over to your audio settings and make sure both of these options are muted. Tutorial, I mean, you can leave it unmuted if you want to. I personally leave it muted. But the most important one is microphones muted immediately. This is so important because you're going to accidentally, if you leave this unmuted, your mic in game is just going to be on the whole time. You see that green light right there? You don't want that on. You do not want that on. Turn it off, put it muted, make sure it's red, and you'll be good to go. Okay? Make sure you change this. The first thing that wipe happens, change this immediately so no one hears you talking by accident. Just for general tips for anybody that's using freehand, not using a gun stock. People like using the virtual gun stock. From my understanding, what the virtual gun stock does is it kind of anchors the butt stock to your body just so you can aim a little bit better. When I was shooting freehand, I did not like virtual gun stock, and I still to this day, I think, you know, having this off is better in my opinion. That is entirely up to you guys. You can try it out. What people always suggest about it is that, you know, it's going to feel weird at first, and you're just going to have to get used to it if you want to leave this on. But that's entirely up to you guys. I personally, when I was playing freehand, I did not leave this on, and I shot just fine. The only reason why I switched over to physical gun stock is because for far range shots, I was just a little bit I had shaky hands. That's the only reason why I switched over to a physical gun stock. Also, the physical gun stock stuff, the calibration for it, I personally do not use myself. I think it's a little bit jank in this game, and there is some workarounds for it, but it's just too convoluted for me, so I just adjust and adapt to the gun itself and have this off the whole time. Again, I use a physical gun stock now, so I don't even have this on, to be honest with you. Show compass, this is entirely up to you guys. This is a personal preference. If you guys want to know where extracts are and stuff like that, you can see on your watch too, but I personally leave this on and I put it towards the little top part of my screen, my HUD, just so I can see. And it's also very good for callouts as well. This is a good thing for if you're playing with a friend and stuff like that. You can be like, oh, the guy's shooting from the north side from my position, stuff like that, right? It'll help you guys a lot. It'll help you learn the map as well, pinpoint where the extracts are and stuff like that. Player body, I personally would suggest everybody to just use arms only. The only big issue for arms only is that if you're shooting downwards, for example, and you shoot too far down, you don't know where your legs are. So you might accidentally kill yourself because of the arms only stuff like that. But, I mean, if you have no issues with that, I personally like arms only, right? The next one, I think they fixed it already, but I'm going to just let you guys know ahead of time. Movement orientation. Make sure your movement orientation is for headset. That means when you guys are moving in game, it's based off the orientation of your head. Even if I'm moving straight the whole time, I'm going to look left, you know, I could still hold my analog stick to keep going that direction. Just FYI. I personally like head-based movement, so that's entirely up to you guys. The next important one probably I'm going to talk about is the hand pitch rotation offset. I think this one's very important. What this does is it basically, let's say for example, you guys can see where my cursor is now, right? If I adjust this to maybe like 10, you can see my cursor starting to go down, right? So this applies to your gun as well. So if you are aiming a pistol or a gun, let me put it back to what I personally like it. If you're aiming a gun where I'm expecting it to aim at, so let's say for example I want to target that green light, Hopefully you guys can see it in the recording, but I am aiming exactly where I want it to be, right? Now, for example, if I aim the exact same way and I adjust the hand pitch rotation, it's either going to go vertically down or vertically up. So if I go downwards, oh my god, let's not do too much that way. If I go set it back to 0, right, and I aim it the exact same way I was just doing right now, it's going to feel extremely weird. Look where my cursor is now. It's like down there, right where I do not want it to be, right? So that's what the vertical hand pitch rotation does. It adjusts it so you get comfortable on where you think you're aiming it like you would in real life, and you would just, you know, aim it to where you want it to be, where it's expected to be aiming at, right? So if I adjust it back to 17, bam, right there, right where I want it, right on the green light. So that's a very important setting that you guys need to mess around with. Everybody has their own personal preference. I personally like the hand pitch rotation offset. I think it's the best for me, but everybody's different. And the last thing in here, scrolling speed. Please, please, please put this to 100. Just, you know, this is a scrolling speed. You want it to be 100. You want it to be obviously fast, right? Now, that was all the settings that I wanted to talk about, but I want to add a little side thing for anybody that's getting into content creation or stuff like that. The streamer cam, this is what I use all the time, so you could see the HP and stuff like that on the bottom left of the screen for some other streamers. I personally don't like that one, but it's entirely up to you guys. You just gotta enable it, turn it on. Some of you guys have been asking me in the comment section about camera zoom. That's where the camera zoom comes in from. I use this along with video editing to zoom in even more so you guys can see where they are. Camera position, FOV left cam. I aim out of my left eye, so that's why I use FOV left cam. And obviously the same thing for camera zoom target, because I have that on. It's obviously going out of my left eye, so it's gonna be going here. Watch overlay. If you want to see, if you want your viewers to see your HP in your watch, you could turn this on as well. Same thing for compass overlay as well. You can have your viewers see that as well. That's entirely up to you guys. But I just wanted to briefly go over this particular part for anybody trying to get into content creation. For anybody trying to Discord stream to your friends, you could turn this on as well to make it a little bit easier for them to see. All right, one of the other biggest tips I would personally suggest is that you guys learn the spawns. I'm not going to put any sort of map of where I don't even know if there even is a map for spawn locations, but as you keep playing, as you guys keep going through the motions with this game, you're going to recognize each and every spawn that you've spawned into, and you're going to know where players are going to spawn at. With the recent patch of GhostsOfTabor, the lobbies should start filling up to the point where it should be maxed out lobbies all the time. Hopefully, it should be working at least. The last time we discussed this, it was working. But know your spawns, know where you're expecting enemies to be coming from. For example, if you spawn here at radio, there is a spawn in between, right over this hill, literally in between this hill right here. They could spawn right there. There's also a spawn right over there at beach side of things, right down here. If you guys recognize this one, it's a very common one as well, along with the spawn right down there as well. So just for example's sake, right? If I spawn here, you know that there's possibly a spawn over here, spawn over there, and a spawn down there. There's even a spawn down at lighthouse all the way down there, and there's even a spawn right there as well. There's multiple options, right, where people can spawn at. Once you start recognizing where enemies are spawning from, then you have a big advantage already. You're going to be feeling a lot better. You're going to die less because you're going to be expecting somebody to come this way. You're going to be expecting somebody to come that way, that way, that way, and also this way as well, right? Knowing spawns is extremely huge in a type of game like this. I would highly suggest you guys learn it or start memorizing as you keep playing, because once you recognize those positions and spawns, it's a huge, big difference on surviving. You'll start recognizing where people are getting. You have an idea of where people start coming from, right? So that's the benefit of knowing the spawns. You guys need to learn your spawns and make sure you do, so you can take advantage of that information and maybe position yourself in a good enough position where you can just kill them right off the bat. I've killed players literally 10 seconds into raid. I'm not even joking with you guys. I've killed 10 players 10 seconds into raid because I know where spawns are. It's highly important. All right, another tip I would suggest for you guys is having a flashlight on your guns. Flashlights are so good. Looking at dark places. For example, this locker room, right? This locker, I call this a wood locker room or whatever. I don't know what to call it. But it's very dark in there, as you can see. If you flash a light in there, it's going to be significantly easier to see players running around in there as before. Like, if you leave it just dark, it's very hard to see. Another thing that the flashlight is very good for, let me show you guys right now, is looking at players in trees. Look how much clearer it is when you aim your light at a tree. This way you can pinpoint somebody sticking their face out of the tree. It's so much easier to see. Even a better tree right here, for example, right? If you look at this tree, it's extremely dark already. Like, this one's a little bit bright because of the sun and stuff, but if you look at this one, it's dark as heck. You flash a light in there, and it's so much easier to see, right? 10 times better. And even if you're not aiming through your sights, you can even use it to point fire. It gives you a general idea where your gun is aiming at, and you can even use your flashlight to guide your shots and make it a point fire instead of using a laser. Lasers are a big dead giveaway, and which is why I don't use them at all. But flashlights, even though they have that little aura thing right here, the illumination is very much harder to see than a laser. Obviously, a laser is just a straight green light. This one is so much harder to see for the enemy players. They can see it, of course, but I think it's harder to see overall. And plus, it's such a benefit for you guys as players just to see through these trees and just be able to see if there's a player camping in trees, stuff like that, right? Highly recommend people use flashlights over laser dots, over anything else, in my personal opinion. This is why I always use flashlights on my gun. People always ask me about it, and this is why. Another thing I want to mention to you guys is about Scav AI in this game in general. If, for example, you have a Scav in your sights and you don't want them to shoot at you, you can hide in a tree. You can hug this tree, you know what I'm saying? And they won't shoot at you. As you can see, he's not shooting at me, right? This is very important to, like, go around. They will aggro and look at you if they do see you ahead of time, but, like, trees are so powerful right now because the AIs do not shoot in the trees. So if you're trying to sneak around, get around cover, or, like, maneuver around the map, and you know scavs are around, this will be a very beneficial for players that are finding these dudes to be hindrances. You don't want to shoot. You don't want to give away your position. Try to go from tree to tree and have this guy not shoot at you, right? He may look at you like this sometimes, but if you're lucky, what I'm saying is you can go to each tree without being shot at or giving away your position. This is very important for repositioning, stuff like that. Another thing to note as well is that for scavs, if I kill this scav, for example, this scav will not come back because I am in the vicinity. Same thing for all the scavs inside of research. If I killed all the scavs in this vicinity and a player, an actual player like myself or another player is in the vicinity around this area close enough, scavs will not respawn. So you can use scavs as an indicator on whether or not players are still inside a research building. If they're walking around, then it's very highly likely no one's in there anymore. Just a, heads up for you guys. I know a lot of people that may know about it. A lot of people might not know about it. That's why when I see scavs walking around the backside of research, that's when I start deciding, oh, maybe there's no one in there, so I could just go in myself, right? Another thing as well, let me let the scav shoot me, right? Let's let him shoot me. Another thing that's very important as well, chat, is that these blood splats you see here from players, right? If a player is shot at, let's say I shot somebody here and I didn't know if he was dead or not, right? These are indicators in the game where if I kill that player, his blood splat will disappear. But because I'm in this raid, right? That's my blood you see there. Because I'm in this raid, my blood will never disappear until I leave this raid or die. Which means if you shoot at somebody and you see they leave this blood splat and you're not sure if you killed them or not and you still see that blood splat, you know that they're still in the lobby. This is a big tip that not many players know about. But if you guys didn't know about it, hopefully that helps you guys. But yeah, keep that in mind. I had a video in the past too where I shot a guy on top of a roof and I knew I killed him because his blood splat disappeared. Another thing as well, if you aren't sure if you killed a player or not, you can use your missions in game to tell you if you killed somebody. For example, right? I come into a raid 4 out of 25. If I shoot somebody in, let's say, this tree, and I didn't know if I killed him or not, I could easily peek at my menu and see if I got 4 out of 25 still, or 5 out of 25. That way I know I killed that player without me risking my life to go over there. I can easily just check my menu and check my kill missions to see if I confirm kill that player. This is a very good tip to avoid yourself from going out of the freaking cover and realizing that guy's still alive and you didn't know, or maybe he repositioned and you didn't see it and he just shoots you because you didn't confirm the kill, right? You can check your kill missions and see if you did confirm the kill or not. Another important thing I would suggest to you guys is never re-peek the same corners, right? So say, for example, I shoot somebody up here, I don't kill him, for example. You don't want to just re-peek the same thing unless you're 100% confident you're going to kill him. Then I would 100% not re-peek it, because if he knows that you're here, you're going to have a bad time. He's just going to look at this whole time and just pre-fire you or just shoot at you the moment you peek your head out, right? And he could reposition anywhere up the hill. But if you yourself decide to re-peek from here again after failing your first attempt, you're going to have a bad time, right? Now, this building is amazing. You can go anywhere in this building to counter this hill. You can go on the roof. You can go, on the side over here if you wanted to. You can go into the freaking wood locker room over here on the left. There are plenty of options to mix this guy. You do not want to re-peek the same things. I see a lot of players in Tabor like to re-peek the same places they shot from and missed. And for whatever reason, I don't know why they do it, but majority of the time, if the other player you're trying to shoot at knows where you're shooting from and you decide to re-peek from here again, or the same spot you peeked up from initially, you're probably going to die. I'm just going to be straight out with you. You're probably going to die. Do not re-peek the same spots. Always reposition, move yourself somewhere else, get another angle, and you'll have higher chances of succeeding in your raids. Okay, do that. Don't re-peek anymore and find a better position somewhere else. If they are not that good of a player, they're probably going to stay up there anyways. But I'm telling you guys are watching my videos, so right? You guys are watching my video. I'm trying to help you guys. Do not re-peek and just go somewhere else, reposition, and kill them from another angle. Go on the roof, kill them from up there. It's very hard to see up there because of the tarps. You guys have plenty of advantages and choices to do. So make sure you reposition. Don't re-peek all the time, and get them. Another thing that I see not a lot of players do often is when you're bleeding and you're in a tough situation, right? I'm not bleeding now, but I'm telling you guys, if you're in a tough situation and you're bleeding, don't bandage first, because if you're heavy bleeding, there's two types of bleed in this game. There's light bleed and heavy bleed. If you're heavy bleeding, it's going to take longer for the bandage effect to go off before you can start healing. And light bleed is obviously the lesser version. The bandage effect will disappear faster. However, if you're bleeding, chat, no matter the bleed type, you can out heal your bleed and over heal over it as well. Always NRS first. Make sure you guys NRS first and heal first, so that way you're healing, obviously you're over healing over the bleed, and by the time you heal up to max, then you bandage, right? This is the biggest thing that I see a lot of players do often, where they decide to bandage instead of heal for some reason. If I see my health at 30%, I'm not going to pull out a bandage, right? You want to pull out your NS and start over healing immediately, because that way you're healing and you're not bleeding out. And then even if you decide to bandage, you remember, if you're still in a gunfight, you're at 30% HP. You're better off healing and then re-peeking with more HP than you had before, right? This is 100% a good tip for many players that decide to panic bandage instead of using NRSs instead. NRSs will out heal the bleed. Trust me, I always do it all the time, and it's gonna do its job, right? It's gonna do its job. Make sure you guys do that. All right, another thing that people like to do in this game is hide their key cards. And what I mean by this is that if you ever see a streamer or a player that you're watching ever do check a bag, right? You can look inside, you can see something hidden, right? You can stick your face into the bag. There are other ways to check as well. You can like put your hand around to see if you get an icon. Another thing you see a lot of players do is do this. And you hear that clanking noise? That clanking noise is obviously because someone's hiding something, right? Which is the NRS. This is what a lot of people do to hide their key cards and stuff like that. They like to be a little bit tricky even though they lose the key card. This is 100% something you guys should be aware of in raids. Always try to look around and see if they're trying to hide something nice in there. And maybe you'll find a key card. In this case, it's an NRS because I put it there. Also, learning bag management is very important. Now, for example, what you guys can see here, this is, you think the bag ends here, right? For what you could put in the bag. But let me show you something, right? Let me put this here. And let's get something else. Let's put this here. Now, this is optimal bag management here. If you guys can recognize how big your bags are, realistically, you can stuff your backpacks to the brim, to the maximum potential, even in the backside too. Like, you can stack it to the backside as well. You guys need to learn your bag management and make sure you organize it just good enough so you can put stuff on the front side of it and also the back side of it as well, right? This helps out a lot, right? Let's see right here, for example, right? See, it's sticking out a little bit more, and you think it ends here, but realistically, you have more space to deal with. You just got to recognize which bag you're using and then manage your bag the way that you need it to be managed. That way you can optimize how much loot you bring out of raids. Now, another pro tip for bags as well is that if, for example, let's say you're struggling, let's say, for example, you're trying to get something for or put something into your bag. Let's say, for example, this whole bag is full. If you zip your bag with trigger and move your hand in here, you can see my hand has no collision, right? If you put your hand in here and unzip it, you can technically shove it in there like that. So let me try to get a better example for you guys. If I want to put it like in between, like right here in this little crevice, if I zip it and unzip it, look at that. It's like kind of partially in there, right? You guys saw a little bit where I kind of got it in there. The bag wasn't glowing red and I could have dropped it earlier. But this is another pro tip for like sticking stuff into your bag. You can do that. The zip Discord tech. I don't know if this is a bug. It probably is a bug of some sort. But for now, if it's still in the game, it's just something for you guys to be, just a little pro tip for you guys to add more stuff into your bag. You can even go out of your way to shove stuff in the middle. Like, let's say you put stuff in the front and put stuff in the back. If you need some help putting some more stuff in the middle, you can put your stuff in like that, right? You could zip it, put stuff in the middle, unzip it, and let go while it's not red, and you should be able to drop it in there. Now, another thing I want to show you guys is how to tactically reload. So if you guys aren't aware what a tactical reload is that when you can grab a new mag and your old mag out at the same exact time and swap it. So, for example, you guys know triggers to grab a mag, right? If I use trigger and then grip the grip button with my old mag, I could then move my new mag in while holding both buttons and put the new mag in and put my old mag back in. So again, trigger, then use your grip button to grab the old mag, then move your new mag in, right? Oh god. And then swap the old one back. Okay? That's a tactical reload. Now, another way to reload specifically to the AKM, and I don't know if it's all the AK variants, I'm not sure, but you can also knock it out as well. You can also do that as well, and then put the new mag in as well, if you guys want to be extra cool about it. You know what I'm saying? But those are options to reload some tactical reload some guns. Not all guns, not all mags are obviously allow that to do. Like drum mags, for example, don't do that. G3, A3 mags don't let you do tactical reload. Any sort of like big mags like that, they won't let you do the tactical reload. But guns like, let's say, the Stanag guns, M4 guns, Galil guns, they'll let you do the mag switch, AS Val, stuff like that. You can do the mag switch. Some cases, like I said, for the AKM, and I'm not sure about the AK variants, all of them. Somebody correct me in the comments, but you can knock it out like this as well and reload as well, like that as well, just to feel extra cool. You know what I'm saying? Another tip I wanted to bring up too is, so somebody mentioned to me the other day in comments, is like they're asking me why their shots weren't pinpoint to the middle of their sight. Now, let me shoot here, right in the middle. Right, you guys can see the bullet landed right here. Right, I aimed roughly around the middle, and it landed right here. Now, you guys gotta remember that the bullet is coming out of the barrel. The bullet is coming out of the barrel and not the sight. But depending on the distance, you will start to aim at in the middle. So I don't know if I could go out farther. So let me aim in the middle from this distance here. So I aimed a little bit far. I went a little bit farther right, and then you saw the bullet now goes up higher, right? So that means depending on the distance, if they're this close to you, if if, for example, they're this close to you and you're trying to aim for a headshot, you want to aim it just a little bit higher just to hit that shot. Now, if they're like 50 meters to 100 meters out, you can aim in the middle of the hollow sight right here, right? You can for sure aim in the middle. But just again, remember, your bullets are coming out of the barrel. So even if there's like, even like a railing, for example, right? If you're aiming like right here or something, sometimes you see how like my gun is actually pointing at this thing right here, this little railing, but my sight is obviously looking through. Sometimes you will accidentally hit this railing because obviously, like I said, your bullets come out of your barrel. Remember that. Just because you're aiming through your sight like this and you see me aiming at the middle of the target doesn't mean you're gonna be hitting that target, because something's obviously blocking the barrel, right? Keep this in mind. So the closer range you are, you want to aim a little bit higher. You can still aim at their head, but like just know it's going to be going just a tad lower. But if they're at a far distance, like 50 to 100 meters maybe away, you can start aiming directly in the middle of the scope. And obviously considering bullet drop, but I'm not going to be talking about bullet drop and stuff like that. Just aim in the middle of the scope for far distances to keep it simple. All right. Now, another thing for new players or even intermediate players, not every player uses every gun or ammo type, right? Or know every ammo type. There's a lot of ammo. There's a lot of ammo types in this game, as you can see. Look at all this. It gets overwhelming at times, but if you get like a mag, for example, let's say if you don't know what this mag is, you don't know what the bullet type is, you can go to your ammo loader and just shove it in there. And it'll tell you what the ammo bullet is, what the caliber is, right? It'll tell you right straight up. You can go here and check it out if you need to. Also, another thing too, if for some reason you just had a bullet you're just curious about and you didn't have this box, you can drop the bullet in here and be like, oh, that's the ammo, that's the type of ammo that is. And then you could figure out which ammo goes into what mag and stuff like that, right? You can use this ammo loader is your best friend for knowing what ammo types are, loading your ammo in there and stuff like that. And this is to be your best friend. Shove a bunch of mags in there and you'll figure out what ammo type it is, right? Let's say if you want to get this big baller right here, you don't know what ammo type this is. You're not sure. You can drop the bullet in here, right? It'll tell you straight up. Or you could shove this in there too, and it'll tell you straight up what it is. This is perfect information and a great place to load your mag, obviously, and it'll tell you what the bullets are needed for this specific magazine. So this is another important tip that people may or may not know. If you're questioning what your gun mag bullet is, you know what I'm saying, you can go here. Another thing that people may or may not know is you can check if your gun, besides wasting ammo, you can check if your gun is racked. You pull your gun back just a little bit, you see the bullet is loaded just right in there, right? Well, you know for sure that there's a bullet in there and you can shoot. Sometimes, obviously, let me unrack it. You can load it and this is what it looks like with no bullet in there, which means obviously there's no bullet in there. Another thing is too, you guys will eventually learn it yourselves, but each gun has a way to set the fire rate. Right now, it's in full auto. You set it one more tick down. At the bottom is single fire tap. Oh, let me rack it real quick. Single fire tap. And if you go to the top, it's safety. Every gun is different. Over time and experience, you guys will start to recognize and remember what the fire rate is in the gun and which fire you're currently on, which fire you want to be. But that's how you check what type of fire rate you're on, and that's how you also check if there's a bullet racked in your gun as well. Another thing is for traders, right? Not everybody is familiar with each and every one of these traders. You don't need to know each and every one of them by heart, but the most important ones are Spectre for guns and gun attachments, and also sights as well. Jiri and Shiro, you can get them to get to either one of them, whichever ones you prefer for mission wise. And this is your route to get to AP bullets, which are armor piercing bullets, which are obviously very important for crafting bullets and making those armor piercing bullets to get through their armor and kill them faster. You know what I mean? Shiro or Jiri, whichever one you prefer. If you go the Jiri route and you're trying to get the Karunas up, you want to be selling like stuff like food to Jiri and stuff like that. There's some other things that you start noticing that Jiri buys more for, but the biggest seller for Jiri is food. For Shiro, it's either ammunition or mags, right? So you can go either route. Now, obviously, Minty, one of the best ones to go for as well, for obviously armor and helmet and backpacks as well. You can sell, obviously, those things I just said to get the money up. And obviously, same thing for Spectre. You can, this guy is the most important one for guns, attachments, and sights, right? You can get your Karunas up by finding those things in raid to sell back to him. You can also get this, I'm not sure if many people know about this, but you can also get your Karunas up for this requirement here by buying from these traders. You don't just have to sell to them. You can buy from them as well. It will count towards your Karuna count or Karuna requirement to get up there. So personally, what I do every wipe is either I go for AP bullets immediately, either Jiri or Shiro, whichever I'm feeling, or you can either go to Spectre 3 or something like that, because Spectre 3 allows you to get silencers, and silencers are very important just to make sure that you're not heard and seen as easily as other players that are shooting unsilenced guns, right? But that's entirely up to you guys. You can even go to Spectre 3, but personally, what I typically do is go for AP bullets first, then get to Spectre 3, then get to Minty 3. And Minty 3 grants you level protection 4 armor, the tan armor. But that's personally the route I would go in. You guys can do a different route, whatever you guys prefer. I don't know if you guys prefer anything different. Maybe you guys like going the Spectre route, level 3 first. Maybe you guys like going for armor first. Either way, these are the main four important ones at least that you want to go for. Basically, pretty much these two are the main ones, and the AP bullets, of course, are very important as well. But I see a lot of people really route to these routes first. But again, AP bullets are end game material stuff. Now, there's a lot of food options in this game, but the two main important ones really are these two bad boys. Right, you got peaches right here and then tangerines. Okay, these guys are the best ones in the game, obviously because of one thing: they refill your hunger and thirst. Right? That's why whenever you see streamers going to raid with food, it's always just tangerines, because hunger and thirst. It's just very important. Everything else otherwise, don't worry about the food. Now, the last thing many players may or may not know about is that you can actually customize the guns that you have available here, right? So say, for example, if I wanted to test out this gun. Here you go. Gun attachments. Throw on the rail. Put this on. You know what I'm saying? Get a mag for it as well and load it up and rack it. And also let's get a sight for it as well. Get our sight for it as well. This will be a good place to test out the recoil and stuff like that. I would highly suggest for you guys just come to Spectre and just test out the recoil. Get used to the guns here. You don't waste any ammo in here, and then you start recognizing the spray patterns of each gun. Also, another cool thing about the market is that if you scan it as is like this, you can also favorite it. Right? If you favorite it, that means every time you buy this gun, it's always going to come with all these attachments on top of it. Not many players know about that, and I would highly suggest you get your favorite guns. And if you're constantly buying guns and attachments rather than building it yourself in raid or in your bunker, then you could do it from here as well. And it's always going to be favorited just for you. And you can do the same thing for all the other guns as well. And also, side note too, you can insure items, and if you say, for example, you die in raid, and let's say you died in raid and this was left in raid and no one took it, you will get this item back if it was insured. Small price to pay, but that's entirely up to you. Now, last but not least, wipe is coming, and you know what that means. Everybody's be starting from ground zero, except for the DLC players, of course, because they start at level 2 traders. But if you have been playing this for like 1 to 2 or 2 wipes or 3 wipes or whatever, and you're comfortable enough to be an intermediate player, I would highly suggest you not go in as a naked or a Bambi, because if you go in as a naked or a Bambi, you're more than likely to die and you're just wasting your time, right? Don't have gear fear, chat. Like, I'm be honest with y'all, it's not that hard to get guns and stuff like that in this game, and money. It's really not that hard. And if you guys have gear fear, you are less likely to get out of that raid alive. I don't have all this gear here because I had gear fear. I always brought in a kit. I always brought in some defense, some health, some bandages, and always had something to defend myself. 100%, I highly recommend to always go in geared if you can. That way, you increase your chances of going to raid, surviving, and bringing money out. And again, don't trust anybody. Everybody and their mother is probably going to backstab you and kill you. Don't trust them. All right? And hopefully you guys enjoy your raids out there. I hope not many of this stuff I mentioned in this video are going to be changed in the wipe. This is literally, what's today's date? Today's date is the 29th of July. I don't know if any of the things I said in this video are going to change or not, but this is, again, 29th of July 2024, literally 2 days before wipe. So hopefully not much of these tips and tricks I said to you guys have changed. But again, enjoy Tabor. If you're new, if you found anything that you guys liked in this video that actually helped you out or you didn't know about, let me know in the comments below. If you want me to talk about something specifically, maybe let me know in the comments below. Maybe I can answer you in the comments, or maybe I can make a video about it as well. Again, I'll see you guys in raids. Enjoy the video. If you guys like the video, please like, comment, subscribe, watch it through all the way to help me out with that.